Hey, everybody, welcome back to our second episode of Relocation Discussion. And again, our purpose for holding these is to really help people that don't have the resources or the tools that they need to relocate to be able to understand how to do it easier, smoother, better, with as less stress as possible. So today we have Melody and Sabrina with us, and we're really grateful for their time that they're able to give us really great information about it. And we'll go ahead and get started. Do you guys want to say hello to everybody before we get started with the question?
Yeah. Well, Merry Christmas. That's coming around the corner. So some people actually may be watching this on the Christmas break. So want to wish y'all a Merry Christmas.
And Sabrina.
Yes. Good. Hello. Good afternoon for some of you. And I hope y'all had a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Hope everybody had time to spend with family. We're going to go ahead and jump in. We get a lot of questions, a lot of different questions as pertaining to each individual situation. And it's really great to be able to help so many people understand how to relocate a little bit easier, a little bit better. And one of the questions that we get quite often is, should I rent first or should I go ahead and buy? And so that's a question I think that is going to be for each individual person to determine what is best for them. Because we all know each situation is a little bit different. Somebody's financial situation might not be the best to where they really can't buy. And so obviously they're going to need to rent first or for some time to build up either their credit score or their down payment money, closing cost money. There's a lot of different elements that goes into whether or not you can buy. But for those that have the potential to buy, but they're still wrestling with that question, should I rent first or should I just go ahead and buy? And so I'm going to ask the agents, our experts, our relocation specialists here, should you rent or should you buy? Sabrina, let's go ahead and start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, Zeke. Well, everybody's situation is different, of course. And you'll have some people that are able to go ahead and they've got their down payment. They've got the money extra for all the other things that you're going to come across when you buy a home, which is you're turning on your electric, your water, your gas, paying for the inspection, the appraisal. So you do have to have, I typically tell most people around $5,000 to even get into a home, and that's just for your utilities and all of that. And some people, they don't have that. They don't have that, saved back. They haven't talked to a lender yet to see how much they could spend on a home. So that's very important to do, is to talk to that lender first if they're even considering buying a home. Some people just want to rent because they don't know which area they want to live in, and that's very important too. If you don't know if you want to live in Knoxville, Chattanooga, or Nashville, then you definitely might want to rent for a little while to see if that's going to be a good fit for you or not.
Yeah, a lot of people are moving across country from different states, and they might think that this is, where we're going to end up, or this is where we really want to be. And so for some that just really aren't sure about the specific area, renting might be the best situation for them first. Mel, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, like she mentioned, there is a lot of prep work that comes into knowing the area you want to be in. So, that's going to be different, I think, for my clients that are coming into, say, North Georgia, where if they describe the place they want to meet, I know exactly what they're talking about based on that criteria. Now, it gets a little trickier whenever you're going into, say, the metro Atlanta area. Each neighborhood, each suburb has its own feel. So you want to take a little bit more time, but it's pretty much the same thing. If they can describe what they want, I can give them about five different places to check out. Some people they never visit the place that they're going to move to, and I always recommend, like, if you can, go ahead and plan a scouting trip where you can go ahead and see, hey, am I near the places I like to shop at? So we have Publix here. So folks from Florida, when they're moving up, they're like, I want to be near the closest Publix. Other people, it's I need a Sam's or Costco nearby. So those can be spread out. And like we always say here in Atlanta, there's a lot of traffic, and you don't want to be stuck driving 45 minutes to your grocery store of choice. So it takes a little bit of planning, but a lot of that with the internet, you can do a lot of it online. And like Sabrina mentioned, talking to an agent where you can actually distinguish which area you want to be in.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's one advantage that our team really has above every other team out there is that, we really have all of the resources that you're going to need when you're making these decisions. It's not an easy decision between renting and buying for so many different variables for everybody. And I think one of the things that really sets us apart as a team is that we can have those discussions ahead of time. We can learn about your goals and what you are actually looking for, what you like to do, where you like to be around, how many people you want to be around, if it's going to be more rural or more city life that you're interested in. Where's the closest hospital? I think that's one of the important ones that a lot of people have as well. We need to have that healthcare really close by. That's a top priority for us. So we hear and we see all of the different situations that people have, and not only can we help with that because that's where we are, but we also have a lot of other real estate agents in other parts of the country that can be that guide for them as well. And that's one piece of it. We definitely recommend guys to identify and find a trusted advisor, a trusted agent that will be able to answer your questions, that will have an understanding of what you're looking for, so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. But the other piece of that, guys, is the lending side. And I think Sabrina mentioned that, we don't know what we're capable of purchasing. You really need to connect with a solid top lender that has all the resources, all the programs, and knows how to advise you on which route to go. And just like she mentioned, there's going to be closing costs, there's going to be appraisal fees that are due up front, and you need to be prepared for that. So our team has all of the resources that you're going to need to get your questions answered, to prepare you in the best way possible. And we strongly advise that even if you're planning on moving a year from now, get started now. Have that initial conversation with one of our team so that you can put together the steps and the plan for the next year. If you're moving right away, we highly recommend getting on the ball right away and get connected with one of our agents so that we can help make your transition, your move really, really smooth. So we talked a little bit about renting. Why should some people consider buying when they're moving into a new area? Mel, let's start with you. What are some reasons why you think people ought to consider buying first instead of renting?
Well, I think especially in this time of the year, we're seeing price reductions. People don't like to move during the holidays, which is understandable. But for somebody that's moving into the area and wants to buy, it's a perfect time. You're able to get the seller concessions in most cases, and you're paying under asking price in a lot of these areas. So you're getting the better deals if you're able to make a move now when other people are deciding to wait till the spring. So that's one incentive. There's other there's other financial incentives as well. Whenever you're looking at, for example, with the short-term rental market, they can get the cost depreciation, and there's actually more incentives that they can get that up and running by the end of November into December here. And so, depending on your financial goals, it could be a perfect time. Now, if you're not able to, of course, then that's whenever we would probably recommend renting, depending on the person's situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. When you're looking at what fits your goals the best, that's truly important. Sabrina, what other reasons would there be that you could think of to go ahead and purchase first instead of renting?
Well, there's always the thing of building equity into your home. You're actually own the home. And so you're building equity in it instead of giving your rent to the landlord. And there's that old saying, well, you're just paying his mortgage
Mm.
instead of your own. So, you want to think about that if if it's possible to buy a home. And then too, the thing, a lot of people are moving with animals, dogs, cats, and landlord, it is so expensive now to pay rent when you have dogs, cats, animals that are coming with you. They charge an extraordinary amount for that. So if you have any animals that are coming with you, it's always best if you can to buy a home. That way they can get acclimated to the home as well as you do. But, also too, I think about the when everybody else is going to be, if you buy now, the market is like a buyer's market right now. The houses are being lowered, the prices are being lowered, whatever. And so you're not in as much competition as you will be after the first of the year. So that's something to think about too.
Yeah, those are all really, really strong points. What about somebody who comes in and says, well, I really would rather buy, but I don't know if that's really the area that we want to be in. What do you say to somebody who is coming in and it's just they really want to purchase, but maybe they don't have a good understanding about the area? How would you advise them on that?
For me, I would say, well, you could always use it. You could, stay in it for a little while, build up that equity, and then you could always turn it into a rental.
Mhm.
You might, in a couple of years want to go somewhere else and just you would have your rental property for income for later on.
And
Um,
that's important too, because they're paying the 2025 or 2026 prices and they're staying in it for a year or two, and they're not going to be paying the 2027 or 8 prices. So they're locked into a much better price point, and potentially an even better rate than they would be waiting for a year or maybe even two. So that's an important discussion that you need to have as well with you and your family, and figure out what's going to be best for you guys.
One thing that people are thinking about doing too is, a lot of people love vacationing in Tennessee. They just absolutely love it, especially in the mountains, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and stuff. And why pay for a rental when you can own it, use it when you want to, and then, have as a short term rental or Airbnb the rest of the year when you're not using it. So some people even consider doing that.
Yeah, that's something that is becoming more and more popular. People are actually purchasing the Airbnb to live in short term, and then purchase a little bit later, especially if you're in an area such as East Tennessee, where it's very, very common to have an Airbnb or a short term rental property. And another growing trend, or has been growing for the last few years, is midterm rentals. So, a midterm rental is going to be very important for traveling professionals, maybe maybe traveling doctors or traveling nurses who are only going to be in this city for a short period of time. And maybe instead of renting, maybe you could purchase a midterm rental and stay in it until you're ready to purchase the home. And that way you could rent out the midterm rental for a 3 month or even a 6 month rental, but you're able to charge a little bit more because of the time frame there, and you've gained a lot more equity. You've gained an investment property that's going to be passive income for you. So that's definitely an option as well. So those are really, really good. Let's shift gears a little bit. We have people that are deciding whether or not to rent or buy. Let's talk just really briefly. I think we're going to have a much greater discussion in the future about first-time home buyers, but let's mention just briefly about some of the reasons that first-time home buyers are making these decisions as well. I know we talk about the they've never done this before. There might be a little bit of an overwhelming or a fear factor when it comes to this. But talk to us about some of the things that are advantages for first-time home buyers when they're relocating. Uh, Melody, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, so for a first-time home buyer, I mean, first step, we always connect them with a lender because the biggest question is, hey, what's my buying power? Especially when they're coming from other states. Usually their buying power is a little bit better when they move here just because home prices tend to be a little bit lower. on this side of the country. Now, one of the advantages of being able to get that first home is there's programs. So in Tennessee, I can't remember the name of the Tennessee one, but here we have Georgia Dream. So
Hmm.
these are state specific programs for first time home buyers. They'll tend to offer like 10K in seller closing costs. So they take a little bit of that weight off of the first time home buyer because they want people to purchase homes. So there is that incentive. And in some states, it's every couple of years you can actually qualify for it. So for growing families, they'll find themselves moving or upgrading a home every 7 years. So there's a lot of buyer incentive programs the states offer because they want people to be able to purchase that first home.
Yeah, and that's very, very true. And we have discussion with our lender, our in-house lending team all the time about, hey, what programs are available for first-time home buyers? Because there's new ones that come out every single year. And there are some in the recent past where some people don't need to bring any down payment money, or there might be a 1% down payment assistance instead of needing to have the traditional 5%. So, depending on what types of programs are out there, it's really important to talk with that lender first, and then really get connected with the right agent. Guys, let me just tell you, get connected with one of our fantastic agents. Definitely get connected with our in-house lending team. You can find all of that information on our website. It's www.silverfoxpnr.com. And guys, it's super important. We have fantastic agents. You're going to want to get that local agent advisement and advice. Okay. They're here to help you in your transition, in your relocation process, moving from one state to another. It's stressful enough. Okay. Let's go ahead and get connected so that you can get started planning out your relocation. So, Sabrina or Melody, do you have anything that you want to add before we come to a close here?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, Sabrina, for sure. And Mel, we certainly appreciate. Maybe we'll have your beautiful daughter on for the next one.
Yeah. When she's like, oh, it was my lunchtime. And I was like, oh,
I understand. Very good. Well, guys, we hope you found this information very helpful on whether or not to rent or buy. It is going to, require you to make a decision that's going to be best for you and your family. However, don't make this decision on your own. Contact one of these amazing agents. Get connected with one of our lending team that will be able to advise you on what you're capable of purchasing, let you know exactly what's going to be required financially of you as far as down payment. With the different programs, there's different amounts there. And go ahead and get started looking in some of the different areas. Like Mel said, come out and do a scouting trip. We'd love to meet you in person and be able to kind of point you in some of the areas that we feel would fit your lifestyle the best, and let us be a part of your relocation. Thank you again for your time today. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.